Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to go over my review, kind of a little bit more of an in-depth review, and you can't see the name on here because I got it covered up, but this is the SeeLite manual pole mount for forward-facing sonars. And on this one I have the Fish Obsessed bracket, which makes it so you can turn it. That actually should be going the other direction, and I can turn it like this, so you can adjust it. Easy. I like that much better than the other ones, and it's been working out really well so far. So that's part of the system that I got going on, and I just had it in the shop, so I think it's kind of goofed up right now. And the guys were moving it around. That's okay, no big deal. Anyways, so this pole mount has been through a lot. I've got it mounted directly down here. I opted to go through the floor, and I've got nuts and washers on the underside. You don't have to. They say you can just do a they supply it's like leg screws, leg bolts, leg screws with hex heads on them. But I don't know. I have a hard time trusting. I hit a lot of, going through hard water or I mean big water. I want to make sure that that's not going to loosen up and fall off or whatever. I just want to make sure it's not going to loosen up. And putting bolts all the way through the floor won't do that, because you've got nuts on the other side, and the nuts and washers on the other side. It's lock nuts, so it's got the nylock lock nuts, stainless steel, so not going to rust, and they're not going to come off. Same stuff that I use for all my graphs too. So, but this little review that I'm going to do on here is a full season of me using this during tournaments and during just fishing all around. So it's been working out really well. The only problem, so the reason why I got this is because of spot lock. If I had it on the trolling motor, I'd be at the mercy of spot lock, and I didn't want that. So that's why I got this. Now, personally, and this is going to happen soon, I would, should have gotten the, well, not should have, but this was cheaper, so this was about $300, $330. And what I wanted to do was get the right height turret mount, which is going to go right up there on the trolling motor. Now this is an Ultrex now. Before I had a Taroba, so I built my own little mount that's strapped here, PVC pipe that went like this and then up, and then it worked out just fine. I'll include a link to that video that I showed about how I did it and a little bit more details on it. I'll put a link in the description for that video, so go check that out if you're curious about that. Super cheap mount, and it's pretty easy to do. Just make sure those cables don't get wrapped around the shaft. Make sure they got enough slack, coiled up, so that way it doesn't pinch. But anyways, back to this mount, this pole mount. Well, I guess back to the right height turret. So what that turret's going to do is I'll be able to do the same thing as this pole mount, except I'm going to be able to electrically steer it with my feet instead of my hands with this handle, which is fine. And that's going to be much better for me, and it steers just fine, but I'll have the pedals on the floor up over there. So, and that's ultimately what I'm going to be ending up with, because I feel like that's going to be the best, and it can still be mounted on the trolling motor, and this will be out of the way, be just easier kind of all around. One modification I had to do to this is Seamount makes really good products, but this top part here, so this piece here, this stainless steel piece and this handle that sticks out is one piece, and it's threaded on to this post. Works great, but this loosens up on me, and then when I turn, it loosens up and then I lose my spot. So what I ended up doing was tighten this up all the way, and I drilled the hole with the drill press all the way through, and then just put a bolt. Bolt's a little bit long, but it works. Now it's not going to move or anything like that. I won't have to worry about it, because there's some times where it would just go through. I ran electrical tape on there for the season, and it worked okay, but it still loosened up a little bit. Now we don't have that issue. So, and it deploys just fine. I have no issue deploying it, and I'll show you guys right now how it deploys. It's actually really easy. I'm going to sit you guys here on the deck. A little bit like that. Okay. So I guess first what I'll do is so this knob right here loosens. I got it pretty tight. Loosens this here and it slides this out like that. What that does is it allows me to move it like this. So it allows me to twist it like this, and I'll be able to stand the pole up and then move it and then such there. So when you see me turning this, that's what I'm doing there. And then this little part right here is it's a tensioner knob. So it just screws in, tightens it up so it doesn't move as much. It will still move a little, and just loosen that up, and now it'll move easy. Now the way I have it set up here, now I don't know, this is the best spot for me on the boat, that but I mean, I'm sure there's other ways you can do it. The reason why I did it this way is because I can have it like this, and it's fully contained inside of the boat for heavier water. Now I made a mistake of having it out. So picture this like that, but out here. And I had it out here like that. And what happened was I speared a big wave, unintentionally, obviously. And it came up like this, and it took this and it just ripped it. And when it did that, it messed up, inside here, but it still works fine. And I mean, it just doesn't tighten up as well on the other side because it ripped it. So that's my fault, not the company's fault. It's not a defect. That was my fault. It should have been like this. Should have been riding like this. So set you guys back over here. Okay, loosening this knob now. And then what I'm going to do is there's another knob here too to loosen. I'll show you guys that one. But all you do is just like this, and then just turn it. You gotta watch your cable here. I do leave this cable loose. I'll show you why. And then, because we're in the garage, we got a duck. Just like that, and then turn it. Now, I've got a ceiling here, so I'm gonna hit the ceiling. And then just come straight down. And then all you gotta do is just tighten this up. Make sure you're straight up and down. Tighten this up. You're gonna have to go so super tight. But there we go. It was that easy. Wasn't that hard at all. And now we're good to go. Except for here, just tighten this knob here. Like that. So, see, look at that right there. I mean, you're not going to ride like that during the waves, but depending on how your ride is. Okay, before we get to that part, here's this other tensioning knob here. So I had to loosen this one in order to slide this pole. Okay. Now in the waves, you're going to realize that, or in moving water, if there's enough waves, you realize that the water is going to move your transducer around. Now transducer is messed up here. So there we go. Don't mind all the tools and gas cans working on stuff, but anyway, so you're going to realize that this is going to move because the water is going to move that around. So what I do is I just tighten this up. It's loose, just enough right there, so there's a little bit of tension, and there we go there. And you are going to scratch up your tube here, as you can tell. That's what it's from, which is fine. There it is, okay? And you can set this collar here. There's a set screw. You can set that collar to whatever length you need. Now this works perfect for me. And even then, sometimes it is just below the surface of the water, so it's probably going to be about right here. That's okay. But in big waves, it is going to come out of the water. So that's going to happen. No big deal. One thing I do with these mounts is this cable. I leave it loose. I don't tape it anywhere to this pole because I want to make sure I have full adjustability down there. And I'm not really getting into anything. I'm not leaving this in the water where I'm going, you know, fast anyways. You're not supposed to. So this isn't getting in the way of anything. And, you know, if I got to turn it, or if I forget or whatever, it wraps around the pole. There's plenty of slack there to do just fine. I do, however, tape it right here and make sure that this is snug here. And then I make sure I have enough cable here to go up here. Now, I probably got too much cable out because I had this set up just in case I wanted to go back to on the trolling motor, but I don't. So it's going to stay like this until we get the turret, because this isn't a big deal. This is fine for me. Doesn't bother me any. So I'm going to do that, and I just kind of tape the wire to here, somewhere where it's not going to get pinched, scratched, or dinged up. So that's this here, and we're going to go. Now, if you want to, now, when it comes time to switch spots, and say you're not going to go through any rough waves, but even if you're still going to do like 60, 70 mile an hour, just raise this up. I can't go up all the way. Well, this would probably be about where I'd go. Here, I'm trying to do this one-handed. Use my knee. There we go. Just like that. And that'll be fine. And then, actually, I do run it like that. See that right there, the pole? I mean, I can't go any further because of the ceiling, but that's fine. I run it like that, so I keep it a little bit below the gunnel, so in case it hits the bumper, your bumper part here, you know, so it can bump out off of that. And I will keep this off the backside like that too, just to make sure, so that way if it's on front, it doesn't swing and, you know, bang and whatever. But that right there, I'll run 60, 70 mile an hour just like that. If the waves aren't real bad. You know, even if there's still some waves, they'll be fine. But I mean, if it's to the point where you really got to slow down or you're going to spear waves, okay, then fold it back down and lay it down in the middle, or you're going to break stuff. That's really simple. That's really all there is to it. So tournament situations, that is actually how I run it. It does look kind of weird sometimes running, you know, and having that pull up there, but hey, when it comes time, when you're ready to go and you get up to your spot, all you do is twist this knob here to loosen up the pole, slide it down, you're good to go. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that in my point of view than putting it back on your trolling motor and running on your trolling motor. Now, there's a lot of other manual pole mounts out there, and I looked at a lot of them before I made this decision, and a lot of them are kind of expensive. And the ones that I saw, I can't speak for all of them, but the ones that I saw weren't this adjustable and easygoing, or maybe some were that adjustable, but in order to get it up and out of the water like this and just to run, you had to do some kind of folding and, you know, turning and then or flipping, and it just didn't seem like it was going to be that great for me. So I wanted something that was easy, and I saw this method here, and I thought, well, that's great, that's awesome, and it wasn't that expensive. One downside to this, okay, so I guess this would be the second downside. The other side was this bolt here. The one downside is the paint, the anodized, I'm not even sure what this is. I think it is anodized, but it faded. It faded a little bit. See if I can get a better, there you go. There, now you can see. So this was same color as this. So it's custom. And I bet if we take off with it, actually I know we take off this this electrical tape, it'll definitely be different in here too. But you know what? That's minor stuff, really, honestly. If it really bothers you, take it apart. Go and get it powder coated. You can get the whole thing powder coated. There's a lot of companies that do it. It'll probably be for a really decent price. But it doesn't bother me, really, honestly. It doesn't bother me. It does what I need it to do, and it works just fine. It works great. And I have, you know, I have a lot of good things to say about it. I definitely approve of this. I recommend it, just from its ease. And you know, you can get these in many different ways too. I mean, not ways, but many different options. So you can get it so you can detach it from here, you know, so you can have a plate, you know, mounted here, and then you can detach this whole thing down there. And I can even detach this too. Like here, I'll show you. You know, just you got to take this all the way out. So we'll loosen this up like this. Okay. I think I can just, yeah, look at that, just like that. You can detach it like that. There you go. Yeah, now you got a post sticking out, but at least now you got your pole here. You can probably, well, you can lay it on your deck. You can't put it in your locker because you got your cable attached to it. So I haven't found a way to do a quick disconnect for a cable. I'm sure there's one out there, but I haven't really needed to. This works great. It's by SeeLite. I'm not sure what model this is. The model that they have on their website, it's a SeeLite Sea Fish Transducer Pole Mount 2.0. I believe it starts out at 325. This exact model right here would probably end out probably around 325. With the extra options of like the disconnect here, down here on the base, and you can get different lengths or heights of poles or of bases here. This is an 8-inch. They have a 14-inch. So I mean, you know, up another 4 more inches up here. Sorry, another 4 more inches up there. So they got a lot of different ways you can, you know, a lot of different options. So you can mount for there's different boats, and you know, they got track mounting options. So I mean, this is a great product, and it starts out at $325. Just keep in mind that more options you add, the price does go up. So, but I still feel like it's a heck of a lot more affordable than some of the other ones out there, and very user-friendly, super user-friendly. Really, I mean, it's very simple to run and operate, and you know, this right here, this tightens up in here. So you got like a sleeve right here. See that? So there's a sleeve right in there that this clamps down onto. It's like a bike clamp, if you think about it. And there's guys that make them out there with bike clamps, but it's like a bike clamp. And this knob tightens that up, so that sleeve doesn't move. And you just tighten this up, you know, however you want, and you're good to go. So my preference for live scoping, I'm no expert, guys. I only know from what I've been using, experience of using what I have, and from what I've researched. But my preference, my opinion, I feel like if you're spot locking a lot, pole mount is the way to go. Or putting a turret, some kind of turret or something like that, up on the trolling motor that you can steer with a foot pedal is even better. And I know a lot of guys, I mean, I don't know, it's just me. I have a problem. I use spot lock a lot, and I just can't, I have a problem with boat control, and when it's windy out and trying to keep the boat where I want it in order to see the fish with the transducer on the trolling motor. So that's just me. If you're better at that, then hey, you know, go for it. You know, then it might be better for you on the trolling motor. I do know, however, it is better on the trolling motor if you fish shallow a lot and you use it shallow, because you got quick turns, and when you're fishing shallow, guess what? Typically you've got shallow water anchors on the back of your boat. So all you gotta do is, you know, anchor down, and then you don't have to worry about moving around. So if you fish shallow a lot and use it up shallow a lot, then yeah, then I would personally put it on the trolling motor. But I don't, and I do fish shallow a lot, but I don't fish it as much as I'd use spot lock, and that's why I opted for the pole mount, and then the turret's going to be next. So This review got a little bit long, but I just want to give you guys a more in-depth review. I think I did a little one, or a short one earlier in the season, but now that I've got quite a bit of time on it, I want to let you guys know what I really thought of this and a couple things I did to it to make it work better for me, and how it deploys and everything. So it is nicer to do this out of the water too, so you guys can see, you know, how it looks, you know, when I'm out of the water, or I mean when you're out of the water, and kind of how things, you know, perform. So that's gonna do it for this one. You know, like I said, no expert here. I just know what I know from what I've experienced and from what I've researched. So I'm definitely no guru or anything like that for live scoping. Definitely not. I've still got a lot to learn. But this is just my opinion and my preferences and what I've gone through and what works for me. So hopefully, you know, things like this, hopefully this will work for you guys. If it doesn't, well, you just keep playing around with it. Find what works for you, and because I mean, not everybody fishes the same way. So everybody fishes differently. Things are gonna work differently for everybody. Thanks for watching this. You know, if you guys like this content, please hit that thumbs up. You know, smash that subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.